Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here. In this video, I want to share all of the books that I plan on reading over the course of the month of July. But I'm not gonna lie, my June TBR, I kind of looked at what I said I was gonna read and what I actually did read, and I did quite abysmally there. I think that was my worst, following my TBR since returning to book 2. But hey, I read what I wanted, so I still had a great reading month. But this one, I got a couple reads I'm reading with other people, plus one I'm crazy excited about, plus two are just finishing up that didn't finish last month. So I think I have a good chance at least getting the majority of these done. But if you haven't seen my latest video, I'll leave a link up there. But I'm actually reading a historical fiction for one. So this is my first historical fiction book, I think, ever. And it's Bernard Cornwell's The Winter King, which I think has a TV show out pretty recently. But it's sort of like a darker, grittier-ish retelling of kind of the Arthurian legend, which if you know my friend Tim, he's been putting content on the channel about Arthuriana, King Arthur stuff and everything. So we're going to try doing buddy reads once a month and alternating, and he's starting me with the historical fiction. So you guys have been leaving me great suggestions and recommendations in the comments below. So yeah, if you have more historical fiction things that you think I would like, preferably medieval, but especially sword and sandal Greco-Roman stuff. Even if there's I don't know if I've ever seen any ancient history, historical nonfiction, but I'm sure it exists. I'll leave some comments down below. I need to get a big list together. If I have to get through reading some of them, I'll know which ones to pick. So my other kind of group reading sort of thing is going to be 5 of Plato's dialogues. Right here, I love the Oxford World Classic, just kind of editions. Sometimes the translation aren't always the best, but in this one we got Euthyphro, Crito, and the Apology of Socrates. But we're also going to be doing the Phaedo and the Meno, and the 4 of them without the Meno are kind of the Socratic kind of cycle, kind of the discussion leading up to Socrates' trial and eventual execution, and kind of a couple scenes in between there. But anyways, I started a philosophy Discord server, and we've been chatting about different things. Last month or I guess this month in June, we read the Symposium, talked about that quite a bit. And I kind of realized it probably wasn't quite long enough for a month one. So we're doing just a few dialogues kind of all together. So if you definitely want to join in on that, feel free to join in on the server and everything. Glad to have more people, more kind of thoughts on different philosophical stuff. Probably after this month, we're going to move on from Plato to something else, but we haven't voted quite yet on that, and we'll see where it goes for August. So now we're going to go into a couple history ones. Historathon is officially moving on to quarter 3, which I've been kind of participating in over the course of the year. And quarter 3 for July, August, September is the years 1500 to 1820-ish, somewhere kind of in that ballpark. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna do my Q3 pile of possibilities pretty soon. But I have a whole wall here of. Let's see, we got ancient and Greek and medieval goes on over there. But when we get to post-Renaissance, my shelves start shrinking quite a bit, so it's the Q3 one's gonna be interesting. I did have this one. I love my Oxford Very Short Introductions, but I got one on the Habsburg Empire. It's by Martin Rady. I'm 99% sure I started this at one point and just totally forgot about it or something. But yeah, I don't know a whole lot about kind of the heyday of the Habsburgs, kind of dealing, with kind of the time period that we're involved with. I know a lot more about kind of the end, kind of the late 1800s and up through World War I, when they kind of got dissolved and everything like that. But yeah, just I really enjoy these Oxford Very Short Introductions, and might as well start on one that I don't know too much about. Another one I have is I'll be doing a reread of Why We Love Pirates, The Hunt for Captain Kidd and How We Changed Piracy Forever by Rebecca Simon. And I was sent this by Mango Press 4 years ago, and then 3 or 4 years ago, and I never reviewed it, so I need to do that. So I'm going to be rereading that, and that kind of fits in the time period. And what I do remember about this book is I've read I think 4 or 5 pirate books, and 3 of them were just super boring, and it just irritated me because how do you take a topic like pirates and piracy and make it boring? And this was not one of them. The main focus is on Captain Kidd and his trial, and kind of going through I guess the different ideas and opinions about pirates over on both sides of the Atlantic and everything during the time period of the 1700s and stuff, and late 1600s. So it fits the time period very well, and it's on pirates, so can't go wrong there. And I thought in conjunction with that, We got Pirate, The Golden Age, which is in the Warrior series from Osprey Publishing. It's number 158. I got like 10 of these or so. But I really enjoy these. They got really cool, like, full color plates and everything that are about as historically accurate as you can be. Things like that. Different illustrations and primary sources and textual material. All on like pirates and what they actually wore, what they actually were armed with, how did they actually do things, stuff like that. So I think this is gonna be just a really cool one. Just love the cover on that one as well. So yeah, we'll get going with that. Now let's move on to the nature book. So I got 2 that I've started in June, haven't quite finished. So we got Dinosaurs A Hast by Stephen Jay Gould. It started off a little bit slow. A lot of the essays, for those who don't know, he was a really prolific kind of natural history writer in a bunch of different magazines and stuff, and all his I would assume the majority of his articles got like collated into different book editions and stuff. I've read one other, Ever Since Darwin. That one was tremendous. This one is kind of grouped into different themes, and a lot of the early ones are kind of dealing a lot on like the human perspective and everything, which I didn't just find as hard hitting, but once I got through like some of the middle ones, it definitely started picking up just some really cool like standout ones. There was one really cool one on like Edgar Allan Poe actually, and how he kind of wrote or helped write like a book on like seashells and mussels and the mollusks and stuff. And it was just kind of like an interesting thing on how he was innovative but also like plagiarizing at the same time. I just found that really interesting. I'm probably about like 2/3 of the way down this, around 2/3 or 3/4, can't remember exactly, but yeah, definitely will be finishing that one up for sure. Plus that'll count towards my big books of summer. And then one that I started but didn't get like super far, and I think I'm only maybe a quarter of the way, is Sing Like Fish, How Sound Rules Life Underwater by Emarina Kingdon. And I'm really enjoying it so far. We haven't got too far to the nitty gritty. A lot of it's sort of been kind of the setup and some like kind of personal vignettes and stuff. But I'm liking the writing style so far, and nothing to complain about, so I'm really looking forward to getting it kind of like into the weeds, into the seaweeds, I guess, so to speak, with how sound works underwater and what animals find it useful and everything. Now I got 2 books. One here I was sent from Mariner Books recently by Nadina Gale, The Nature of Our Cities, Harnessing the Power of the Natural World to Survive a Changing Planet. And this is all about kind of incorporating I guess like the whole idea of like green cities and like what's real about them, what's legit about them, and like what is like greenwashing and everything. I did look into the author a little bit. I don't know, she's really cool. She's got like a whole like works as part of like a MIT like laboratory and everything. She was on the Forbes list of 30 under 30. Just sounds really cool. And I don't know a whole lot about green cities in particular. I read a ton of nature books, but I haven't read a lot on kind of just like urban infrastructure and being eco-friendly and all that. And I think part of that is just because I live in the middle of nowhere, right? I'm like the most, I say I'm the most rural person I know, but there are some places even like more rural than me in my own town and stuff that makes even me a little sketched out sometimes. But yeah, like I said, I just feel like it's a gap in my knowledge and I want to kind of rectify that. And then lastly, for my like this one, okay, so normally when I get really good books or like ones I'm really excited for, like I kind of wait to read them for whatever reason, for like a rainy day, kind of like today, I guess. Just kind of wait to read them to like I feel like I want to get out of like a depression or sad feeling or something. But this one I can't wait. This one is gonna be just too good. It's Children of the Northern Forest: Wild New England's History from Glaciers to Global Warming by Jamie Sayan. And this was my Father's Day like kind of bookish gift. And this is literally going to be like the book for me. It's all about forestry practices in New England. And like I was just saying, I live in the middle of the woods in Maine, like in the Maine woods essentially. I've kind of like tangentially worked for like a lumber company kind of in the past. But it's all about kind of the ecology, the ecosystem, and like the flora and fauna of like New England's forest. And like I said, Maine is just, we have I think if I remember correctly, we're still like 88% like forest covered still. But the author is like just a really hard-hitting activist and stuff. He's gone to jail for some of his I guess his eco-activism activity, I guess, like protesting different things. Just like one thing, if I remember correctly, when a bunch of lakes were basically they killed off all the fish in the lakes just so they could stock it with like sport fish. I assume like probably like rainbows and like bass and stuff. He like protested by like I guess dumping like a truckload of dead fish like into like the game warden's like office or something like along those lines. So yeah, I know I'm gonna really enjoy this, but it's gonna be really sad and depressing. Just because he's gonna go into all the details of why like our forestry services suck, all the lumber companies suck, and everything, and how they're doing a bad job. Hopefully, there might be like some kind of remedies on like what we can do going forward to kind of help with everything. But like, just look at that cover; it just looks awesome. I don't know. This, like I said, if there was a book written for like me and like my nature reading and stuff, I don't know how you could like get like almost like a better one, if that makes sense. So there you have it. Those are a bunch of books. I sincerely doubt I'm gonna read all 9. We're gonna strive for 6. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, or something like that. I'll see if we can do 6 in over the course of the month of July. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite book that you're looking forward to reading over the next month is. I'm always on the lookout for more recommendations, and whatever you end up reading over the month of July, always remember, read victoriously.